A lot of businesses are selling the same things that they've historically sold. And it's once again, it's fair to continue to do so because, per usual, everything's going fine. You're at a plateau. You're kind of almost afraid to change things when you're at a plateau because you don't want things to go down, which can happen when testing. Obviously you want to maintain what you've got to a degree, and you can kind of get stuffed into just continuing to do that behavior. It's important to test new offers occasionally. So I had a client recently. We got this guy's business with the help of him and his entire staff, of course, all the way up to $22 million a year. He got bought out by a private equity business. Okay, and the private equity business ended up, believe it or not, running the business into the ground, and they gave it back to him. So he calls me up after he gets the business back, and he was like, dude, I got to get this thing going again. And he ends up getting it back to $1 million a month. So he ends up getting it back to about $12 million a year, and he wanted to get it back up to $2 million plus a month. Okay, so he contacts me again when he managed to get it back up to about $1 million a month, to be clear. And the offer that this guy has is consistently sold to a specific demographic. Now, he's a very well-rounded business person in the information product space, but he sells to a very, very, very specific demographic with a very specific offer. Now, he calls me up one day and he's like, I'm thinking, I see all these other guys that are just, I don't know, they just seem like they're selling everything. Like they're selling sales training, they're selling business development training, they're selling just everything under the sun. They're like marketing trainings, all this stuff. He's like, I'm great at all of those things. However, I'm only selling right now to, this very specific audience. I'm not really teaching him any of those things. I'm just teaching him how to overcome the specific problem. And I was like, yeah, well, what are you thinking? He was like, well, I'd love to come out with a new, I'd love to come out with a new info product that would be specific towards more of this, how to be a better business person. And I told him, I was like, well, I think it's very important that you understand you can do that right now without cannibalizing your existing offer. You don't have to change everything on the front end, which is what most people once again are worried about when they're in these cycles. You don't have to change everything on the front end. All you have to do is just start making more content that demonstrates and puts on display that you're an expert at those things. I was like, this is going to make your main product look better anyway, because you're essentially he's sold to 14,000 men who struggle and have addiction related issues, and he helps them overcome that problem. And to be clear, all he has to do is just go out there and film additional content that doesn't necessarily have a lot to do with addiction, but just, once again, puts on display that he knows about business, that he knows about marketing, that he knows about sales, that he knows about operations, that he got bought out by a private equity firm. Just put his expertise on display. This is not going to make him look bad in any way, shape, or form. If anything, it's going to make him look good for his main offer that he already sells to. Because the people that are buying from him for his main offer, they want to learn from a man who's well-rounded and who's overcome the specific problem that they're struggling with their addiction. So to be clear, there's nothing that cannibalizes his existing offer when he does that content. If anything, it just makes him look better. And he was really convinced that he needed to sell that new offer on the front end. So it's important to understand the new offer can be tested with existing customers first. Okay, and this is an important distinction that helps you test things before you just go front end with them. Okay, so in this case, I tell him, I'm like, look, come up with the products, iterate on them and sell them to the people that you're already working with. Add it to what you're already selling to people. Upsell it to people. And this guy has a huge upsell business. Okay. All of his front end revenue, he's very profitable on, to be clear, but he'll upsell things on the back end as an example for $75,000 or $60,000 per person. So he has great offers already on the back end. However, because he already knew that, he was really thinking and convinced that he needed to do this on the front end and adapt and potentially sell this once again as a front end offer. I told him it makes more sense first to test and iterate on the back end before he just goes out of his way and tries all this stuff on the front end. So to be clear, he's currently in the process of that. But my point is, as an example of this, offer tweaks can lead to a tremendous amount of additional revenue. Offer tweaks can lead to additional revenue sources being opened up. More importantly than anything else, it's a new offer, and the new offer leads to a tremendous amount of additional revenue that can outpace the revenue that your other offers have historically done. Now, there's some businesses that I'm aware of. I typically have seen this in the information product space. I'll use Ty Lopez as an example. So Ty Lopez is hands down, whether you love him or hate him, he's probably one of the smarter people that you'll meet in your lifetime if you ever get the opportunity to talk with Ty. Now, I've taught in 3 of Ty Lopez's programs. I've had Ty as a client twice now throughout the years, and it's important to note, Ty is a great example of taking an offer that's a trend, playing into it aggressively, in some instances building an entire trend, and then as that trend starts to die down, he won't kill the offer, meaning he won't take it off the market. However, he'll iterate and come up with a new offer based on what people potentially want next. And he does this masterfully well. So as an example, I'll flash back to 2017. Ty is in a position where up to that point, he's had his 67 steps program, which was that, hey, here in my garage video, that's that product. It was 67 different individual lessons, and then there was a bunch of bonus lessons that he added in there eventually to just beef up the course library. But I mean, Ty read, I don't even know how many books. Without exaggerating, Ty's probably read thousands of books in his lifetime at this point. And simply put, he's a really smart guy. Ty's been rich for a very long time, and he was one of the first OG course creators to just take the information that was helping to make him successful, general get richer type lessons from these books he's read and from his experience, boiled it down into a handful of consumable videos that were several minutes to potentially even hours long, and giving somebody access to it for, in this case, his first product of $67. Now, to be clear, 2017 comes around and Ty comes out with this new product. He called it the SMMA, okay? The SMMA was Social Media Marketing Agency. Now, this was a huge opportunity that Ty recognized he could help people join into and become a part of. So Ty starts teaching people how to start essentially marketing agencies specific to social media platforms, running ads for them, posting content and making content for people, just simple stuff like even just handling like DMs or comments, Ty helped create, in a sense, believe it or not, a lot of the marketing agencies that exist today. He sold that program at that time, just within that year, to like 400,000+ people. I remember guys like Logan Paul bought it. There was a lot of people, simply put, from celebrities to just like your run-of-the-mill guy working a job trying to start getting internet money, that bought that program. And to be clear, that program, I won't say the exact amount that it was making Ty, but without exaggerating, I mean, Ty got either close or exceeded 9 figures just off of that one offer as an example. And that absolutely put every other offer he had come out with up to that point to bed. There was just nothing else that even came close to it. It was huge. And to be clear, that business model still is highly relevant today. It still works today. There's absolutely nothing wrong. There's no flaws in that model. Once again, it works exceptionally well. However, you don't see Ty marketing it that much anymore at all. Why? Well, there's a few reasons why. Number one, most people, especially with what Ty recognizes at the scale that he operates at, are looking for something that's like new, something that they can take advantage of, that's also in like the public eye. So as an example, anytime you see something new come out, like as an example, could be crypto, this most recent one has been AI, you'll see people just abandon everything that they're doing and they'll jump on board with becoming like a crypto expert or an AI expert, And to be fair, this is a great opportunity, believe it or not, for some people who are doing something that, once again, is giving them a plateau type result. They're over it. They want to experience the next level of results in their life and business. And so it makes sense for them to change niches, or change essentially careers to a degree.